What is going on, everybody? The Traveling Yam here again, and I wanted to welcome you back to another Tidbit Tuesday, which is once again probably not on a Tuesday. So today I wanted to talk about all things Stellar. I decided to try something a little different with this video, and rather than getting into the nitty-gritty of Stellar's white paper, I decided to not overcomplicate things, try to keep things as simple as possible, and would like to just stick to the information that is presented on their website. Now keep in mind, I have read the white papers right here. Well, this one was kind of complicated, but I have read the majority of this one. But again, to keep things simple, I just wanted to stick to the stuff on the website because that's what is catered towards investors like us, whereas the white papers, it's usually catered towards the developer. So before we begin, I wanted to take a moment to ask some of you to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. It really helps me out, helps with the YouTube algorithm, also makes me feel good, and helps keep me motivated to continue to make this stuff. Lastly, I am not a financial advisor, and these opinions are just my own, so you should please do your research when thinking about investing in different cryptocurrencies like Stellar. So I guess the first question that we really need to ask ourselves is the who, what, when, where, why of Stellar. So to keep things simple, Stellar was launched in 2015 and was designed to be a decentralized open source network used to facilitate the exchange of currencies from one to another. So this can be things like the Canadian dollar into the American dollar, or into a rupee or pesos, or even the Thai baht. By now you might be asking yourself, Yam, how do they go about doing that? Well, random person who I hope is subscribed, Stellar is able to achieve this 1-to-1 conversion ratio for whatever currency you put in. So let's say you're an individual and you put in 10 Canadian dollars. That 10 Canadian dollars can then be converted into a digitally equivalent version of just in $10 tokens, $10 worth of tokens. So those tokens, which don't forget, once again, are equivalent to 10 Canadian dollars in digital form, can be used anywhere in the world. So you can use it to make a payment, you can use it to send a transfer to a loved one in a different country. You can really do anything with the money. You can convert that money into pesos, Thai baht, or whatever. The point here is that if this is widely adopted, this could save people a fortune on conversions fees and wait times for funds to actually be issued, deposited, or gifted. So in other words, remittances. I don't know, say that 10 times fast. So the best way to really explain this concept is through an example. So let's say you're someone living, I pulled up a world map here. So let's say you're someone living in Canada, like me, and you want to send money either in the form of a payment or a gift to someone, let's say in India. So before I started to learn about what Stellar was, this is how I thought money orders or money transfers really worked. I thought that there was a bank A, so your bank, and bank B, so someone in India, let's say, who you're hoping to send money to. And then the transfer just happened and everything was hunky-dory. Well, in reality, what actually happens is your bank, Bank A, has to send, let's say your 10 Canadian dollars to an intermediary bank, Bank B. Now, the intermediary bank would have both types of currencies. They would have the Canadian dollar, and in this case, they would have the Indian rupee. Once the money was received by Bank B would then convert that money using the global exchange rate into rupees, and then they would send it off to Bank C. Now, as you can imagine, this process is intertwined with a number of transaction fees and spending costs. And these transaction fees and spending costs can be up to 8% and 15% respectively. So this is really where Stellar comes in. What Stellar is trying to do is they have essentially replaced the banks with something called anchors. So you have a sender, you have an anchor, which an example of an anchor can be a financial institution, and then you have the recipient. So what Stellar is trying to do is anchors are essentially licensed and regulated, and they can be either financial institutions, money service businesses, or fintech companies that will provide on and off ramps for countries in which you're trying to put in and take out money. So let's say I would have a fintech, I would have an anchor in Canada, and then I would have an anchor in India, and the anchor is essentially acting as a way for me to get my money into the system, converted, and then sent over to India's anchor version of the one in Canada. So this is important because rather than using traditional centralized institutions like banks, these anchors act as the banks in order to greatly reduce transaction fees. And this is important because now I've seen some speculation online. Some accounts are about a year or two old, and they say that the fee or the interest or whatever that was charged on top of the conversion is anywhere from very little, so I don't know, like 0.1 to 0.5%, all the way up to 3%. Now, if anyone has used Stellar and has a better idea of what the actual transaction fees are, if you could put it in the comments down below so you could kind of help inform everybody, that would be really great. Additionally, while Stellar allows you to interconvert currencies, it is not limited to just that. In reality, Stellar also allows you to perform something called tokenization, which is essentially the digitization of value which can be issued or redeemed. So let's say, for instance, you're a lawyer and you decide that your time is worth $100 an hour. So you can digitize, I guess, your time into token form, and you can have a potential employee, or sorry, a potential customer purchase that token and be able to redeem it, I guess, at your workplace of work or your institution or whatever, in order to book off that amount of time. So in summary, I think Stellar is a cryptocurrency with a lot of potential to innovate a space that is desperately needing it. Instead of having this long, arduous process which costs you a ton of money just to send money from one place to another to a different part of the world, Stellar is able to do that while saving transaction fees, time, energy, money. I think that it's going to be big. It's just going to take a little bit of time to get there. So that's really all I wanted to talk about today. I was thinking of potentially doing a video on how, like, the actual, like, I might download Stellar and try to send money to a cousin or a relative of mine in a different part of the world. Or I was thinking of maybe doing a video on Moonswap and how to use that one, and like all the intricacies in terms of what you can do and how you do it. But if there's a different cryptocurrency that you want me to talk about down below, please leave a comment down below and let me know. But aside from that, I hope you guys have a great weekend. Peace!